Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. You already know what it is. It's me, your boy Trey, and this is First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So, of course, what we have, as y'all know, is a lot of stuff going on over the weekend. Some conference final action, but if y'all been paying attention to the show, y'all know we've talked about many times of another BA, not the NBA, but the MBA. Y'all know what it is, the reason for the season. Mike, Bravo, Oscar, the Military Basketball Association as well had their conference championships to determine the East and the Western Coast Championship. And that's what we have here. Of course, we have Coach Paul Parker, Coach Paris Daniel, and the Commissioner of the NBA. Also, Coach Mike Myers II. As we are live here in effect, gentlemen. Good morning. How you doing? How you doing?
Great.
Good morning.
Great. Good morning.
So, as I was saying, of course, we know the NBA had their action here in Las Vegas for the Western Conference. In the East, that was at Phoenix City, and they were able to to crown a couple of champions. Coach Mike Paul Parker is off to the side right now, getting situated. But the Port Campbell Screaming Eagles were victorious. As y'all know, we've had Coach Parker on here before, and a couple of his players, which they talked and discussed and laid claim to what they were going to do. It's funny how that all comes together. But of course, for the time, which we had strictly individual that is all Air Force when it comes to the NBA. Unlike any other time, Coach Paris Daniel, coach of the Loop Air Force Base military basketball team. Coach, congratulations on the Eastern Conference championship. I give you the floor to do a little, to kind of like beat your chest and talk about, Air Force, yada, yada. I got it, you know what I'm saying? But it's your time, Coach. Go ahead.
No, everybody know me. I'm not much of a chest beating type guy.
That's
We
what's up.
just we just a bunch of humble guys that go out there and play as hard as possible. Faced a lot of good competition out in Las Vegas this weekend. It definitely was not easy. Especially getting to the later rounds where you have to play out Fort Cannon and Nellis Air Force Base, which was loaded for bear out there, and then facing our rivals, which it always seems to happen. The great Camp Pendleton team led by Coach Dave Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just do what we do, fight and grind out wins. That's the formula.
Okay. And I've heard plenty much about the Marine teams and how they are well
Mhm.
coached organizations and everything. So I've been sure that. Hold on, we have a special appearance from somebody. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning, Bishop? How you doing? I'm trying to figure out and understand. I know we haven't had anything. Boston won, so I know you wasn't hiding because they lost. How you doing this morning,
Absolutely
brother?
not. I'm doing great, man. How you doing is the question, man. Are you okay?
I'm okay,
You
man. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
okay.
okay.
Okay,
It
okay.
happens, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I told everyone yesterday, as I gave my formal apology to everybody for picking against Boston.
The disrespect. I get it. I
Yeah,
get it. Yeah,
I
you was
gave a
very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
I
If I was Boston fans, I would probably come curse you out, leave you some nasty emails and some stuff in your inbox. Yeah. No, I did. No, I didn't
no,
pick
coach,
this.
no,
No,
coach, you pick.
no, coach.
So
No. That was that gentleman right there with the pretty eyes or whatever you want to call it. The dude with the colored eyes. He the one picked Miami to win. The
so
colored eyes guy.
what we
Who?
go in a second, we'll get into it, into a second, because what we're not going to do is act like Miami ain't have a good chance, but we'll get into it in a second. I want to go ahead and get wrong. So Bishop, of course, I know you was out for on yesterday, so of course we have Coach Paris Daniels from Luke Air Force Base. He said the feds gave him bad information. Of course, we had Coach Parker on before, representing uh, Fort Campbell Screaming Eagles, as they're the Eastern Conference champions for the NBA. Of course, we have Coach and Commissioner Mike Myers that's on here. So East West Conference has been solidified, and now we look at moving on into the NBA Finals. So, Coach, all right, correction. Commissioner Myers, MBA
Yes.
action. How did that all go? Planning process and putting everything together to where, saying now you have your 2 champions, and now where does it all go from here?
Well, from here, first of all, thanks for letting me come on this morning. I love First Formation. I'd like to see this as a platform for all of our MBA coaches to come on and really, really just talk about their teams, their programs, and what they're doing to promote resiliency around the world. And it's been a process. I mean, I just got asked a question here. Did I ever envision the Military Basketball Association doing what it's doing right now, where we had just 2 amazing events, one in Phoenix City, Alabama, and then another one in Las Vegas. And I can tell you honestly, the answer to that question is absolutely not. And as the NBA continues to evolve, what you're seeing is, just some really cool events with great sponsors, great lots of businesses that want to support what we're doing. And then we got great coaches. I mean, Coach Parker and I, we go way back. And so to see him, masterfully, bring his team and just call an absolutely outstanding play for his big man in that last second shot. That was outstanding. And then obviously, Paris Daniels, the current NBA champion, current champion for the NBA. And for him to go back-to-back, winning the Western Conference Finals, it sets up a really, really, a great storyline coming into Denver. And so, the NBA is going in the right direction, and I look forward to seeing what these teams do over the next 6 weeks to prepare for obviously a competitive postseason and final event. So congratulations to Paul Parker and Coach Daniel for really, 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 getting their teams in the position to win. It's not a luck thing. It's complete skill when you talk about what these coaches have done to get their teams at a competitive level.
Okay.
Come
So,
on, Freddie.
Coach Parker is back on. Coach, I seen the play this morning as Jaquan knocks down the shot. I don't know. Like Coach said, Commissioner Myers said it's not luck. And you drew it up, in which I could assure that it most likely was just the confidence that you had in them. But before we get to that, let's talk about a couple of months ago. Yourself and Wooden, one of the other players, came on and talked about how y'all the resiliency y'all had to fight through due to the fact that y'all was out without players, y'all was getting people back, and y'all got on basically stated and said that okay, military nationals may not be it, but y'all eyes are set on the Eastern Conference, and of course you delivered. Let's talk about that for a second.
Well, we knew going into nationals, due to the criteria and the way that you can play with nationals, it was going to be a really, really tough draw based on how you can have your roster. So we knew, with that being said, it was going to prepare us going into the Eastern Conference Finals. We knew once if we can get all our pieces together, have everybody together, we was going to have a really, really good shot to go down to the Eastern Conference and make a name for ourselves down there and come out victorious, which happened. And we're still faced with adversity. Like I said, up until like the day before, we still had like 4 people that couldn't make the trip. Like we had 3 starters that couldn't. 1, 2. Yeah, that's right. We had 3 starters that couldn't go. So our bench stepped up. Our bench stepped up tremendously for us.
Something that the Miami Heat's bench missed during the conference finals, but I mean that's neither here nor there.
Don't compare his team to that. The Miami Heat won. His team lost. His team won. Don't do that. That's disrespectful, sir. That's very disrespectful to compare his team to a losing team. They did not win the go make it to the finals. Don't do that. That's disrespectful, sir. Continue, Coach Parker. Excuse my colleague. Excuse my colleague.
You good?
Very
you good, brother. You good, brother.
Oh man! I tell you, I love this show. I love it.
You know what? Evidently, Bishop has something to get off his chest. So
No,
first,
I don't.
so
I don't.
so again, I apologize, Bishop. I even apologize to you. I know you are a Brooklyn Nets fan for whatever reason.
I
I
am.
understand you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, and I
Mhm.
even apologize to you because you were one of the people that stated and brought up the fact that you did feel that Boston was going to be victorious and was going to get the W. Although I do believe that there was a little help here and there. Like for the life of me, all season long and during the playoffs, we have not seen a situation in which the league has called down and said my man stepped out of bounds when presumably it looked like his heel was up above the out of bounds line, and then 3 to 4
Coaches,
minutes later, you take the three
Mike
points off the
Myers,
board. Come on, man.
NBA Commissioner, Coach
Yes.
Parker, Mr. Daniels. When you have to go back and look at something as petty
And you're
as
an official. You
being,
know these
his
things.
foot was out of bounds.
It was
His
not.
foot
You know
was
what?
out of bounds, bro.
I wish I could say that the game has these issues across the board at all levels. And so people are going to, look at things that turn the tide. And it happens at all levels. But at the end of the day, nobody cares. At the end at the end of the day. At the end of the day, and Paul and I know this because we coached together when we coached with the Army team.
Mm-hmm.
We dropped the game against the Navy, together. Nobody cares that we lost to the Navy. What they care about is what the Army cared about is that gold medal that we brought home. Nobody cares. You can lose a game in pool play. I beat Paris in pool play at the NBA Finals. Paris had a chance. I had to give Paris the trophy. Nobody cares. Nobody
Thank
cares.
you,
Man.
NBA Commissioner.
I have
Thank
been
you,
in that
sir.
position
I
before
appreciate you.
where I in the minor league, like I said, I had a minor league a team, Lake Charles Imperials, in which I was the commissioner for our conference, and we played in a championship game. And as the commissioner for our conference, I had to hand the trophy to the other team, take pictures and everything. That was like
That's the ultimate. That is the ultimate show of sportsmanship and really being humble.
Right.
Because the trophy sat in my house for a couple of weeks.
So
I'm
you already
shining
had a mantle and everything pictured out.
right?
Like I know, I'm gonna put it right here.
Yeah. And I was like, man, and last year we had a really good team. We actually could have won it, but the ultimate humility in sports is to lose to your peer and be gracious and magnanimous and say, hey, you know what? It just didn't work out for us this year. And I was really proud for Coach Daniel. And you know what? It could happen for Paul Parker. The way his team played this weekend, and it's always rival coaches that I end up, crowning as champions. It happened with Cal. I had all these battles with Cal. And here's the thing, Cal lost to me at Nationals in 15. And we had so many battles, so many rivals. Hey, and Paul was
I was a player on those teams.
And he was a player, right? And here's what's so cool is nobody cares. Cal's the first NBA champion. Nobody cares. All they're gonna remember is that Coach Calvin Conliffe won the 2018 NBA championship. They don't even care. And all his games were one possession games. The game against Bliss, the game against Peterson, they were all one possession basketball games where he ended up eking it out. But he's the champ. Nobody cares about what happened in that game. Somebody steps on the line, a coach gets anything that can be questionable, you'll remember it. You personally will remember it. But I guarantee you the fans in Boston and even the fans in Miami, nobody's going to care about that. All they know is Boston is playing in the NBA Finals, and they're the Eastern Conference Finals champions, and that's just literally how the game works. Go ahead.
So I asked this question. You're all coaches. Bishop official, in which I know plenty of times Bishop said as an official, sometimes you get caught up in the game. So I asked this question: was Jimmy Butler's? If we just going back and recapping, was that a good decision by Jimmy to pull up for that three? Heat check at the wrong moment, or what do y'all take it as?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it was a good. It was a good. Come on, Jimmy Butler was the only one that actually was hot for Miami at the time. He was carrying Miami in that whole game. So for him to pull up that jumper, it wasn't a bad shot. He had pulled up the identical jumper on the opposite end in the same area, or just on the opposite end of the court. My personal opinion, I don't think it was a problem with that jumper. He didn't
I'm
have
gonna
his
tell you.
legs. Obviously, it made it short. But go ahead, coach. I mean,
No, I'm gonna say this, and I bring it back to the NBA. I watched Paul Parker's last game, right? And he'll probably never say this, but I'm saying this publicly so he know. It was masterful what he did. Paul took a second timeout. And what you got to understand, I don't believe, and Paul, you correct me if I'm wrong, the play you originally drew up wasn't necessarily the play that you drew up at the end of the ball game. I think you adjusted after there was a little bit of difficulty defensively. I think he made an adjustment. And so I say that because of this. If your star player can be giving you buckets the whole game, right? And sometimes as a coach, you gotta make that adjustment and say, hey, you know what? I got a feeling that this guy's gonna do something special, and this is a moment made for this person. And so I don't know if Paul was like, hey, I'm gonna go for the win or I'm gonna go for overtime. But if I know Paul from like having coached with Paul and having coached against him, I know that was a set play. And I don't necessarily, and you can tell me, you can let me know. I would love to know, because I want to know this. I don't think the first play was his original play, because something happened where the ball got bobbled and he had to call a second timeout. Like, it was quick. And all of a sudden it was like perfect. Now is that the distance that he would have wanted Wooten to shoot from? Ooh. I don't know. I think as a coach, I'm sure he was like, you better make that. But
when it's like, no, yeah.
But if did he get everything he wanted from his best player or from the player at that time? Did he put him in the right position? I'm saying as a coach, you can do that. As a player, I don't know that you continue to I mean, if he's making the shots, yeah, you pull up, it's a great thing. You got to live and die with that. But sometimes a guy like Jimmy Butler can draw the attention and get the moment, like a Steve Kerr you can have that moment where you make that, it's a better shot. Not saying it was a bad shot, but there could have been a better shot. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Coach Parker?
So before I go any further, I would say, I know Coach Dane's on here. I know we messaged each other yesterday. He called, he checked on me, checked on the players.
Yeah.
I just gotta give him his roses. I'm gonna tell you. So 3 years ago, so Fort Campbell, it's been the fourth year Fort Campbell's had a team. Previously, they didn't have a team for the previous 13 years. So our first year in, we win the conference title. We go down to the NBA Finals, right? Down in, it was Colorado Springs then, Air Force, at the Air Force Academy. So we go down there, and we needed Luke. I think my man had like 7 players, maybe 6. Coach, tell me, I think 5. Okay, yeah, 6
players.
We needed him to win, to beat a team, like one of the top teams, so we can get into the Elite 8, right? We're on the sideline we giving them Gatorades. We giving them, you name it. I had like a massage gun. You name it. We buying stuff. He can tell you this, right? Yes. And we needed them to win. He could have easily folded out like, Coach, we need this one. We need this one. Now they won. Now we didn't end up making it to the Elite 8 because we was beating like the Air Force Prep by like 20. with like 3 seconds to go, and we gave up a 3-point shot with like 3 seconds to go, not remembering the point differential.
Yeah.
So we ended up then making to Elite 8 on the point differential. Man, it just, I always tell Coach Parrish, man, he's probably one of the most humble coaches I've ever came across. He's very strategic. His team's always going to play hard, and I take a lot from him. Every time I see him, you can tell you, every time I see him, I come talk to him. I pick his brain about stuff. Every single time. Very humble when I'm around him. While Coach Myers on the call, we may have some words back and forth here and there, but I will tell you one thing that I learned from him, and I was thinking about it yesterday, last night, this morning even. When we were in all Army camp, I called a timeout, right? He let me have it. I'm talking about as his assistant, he let me have it. He said, do not waste my timeouts. My timeouts, I need them and I'm using them as weapons. Do not waste them early on. And I just think back to that. If I would have wasted my timeouts this past weekend, and I had 3 in the fourth quarter, and I'm one of the ones, 10 points, I'm calling one. 8 points, every time you do something all, I'm calling one. We got to talk about it. So just to be able to have those in the bag to be able to use now, in reference to Jimmy Butler, yeah, he takes that shot. He get paid to take that shot. I've seen a professional contract. He get paid to be the man, not paid to pass the basketball in that situation. You got to take it. It's a wide open shot. Like they said, from a skill standpoint, when you're coaching a basketball player, you tell them when you see a player, well, at the pro level, when you see a player backpedaling, like that defender was, you pull up on him. He was backpedaling. That defender was backpedaling. You just go ahead, pull up, and live with the results. And like he said in the locker room, his teammates told him that was a great shot. He just missed it. Now, I think he was off balance, right? He had a lot of time on the clock. He had time to square his feet to the basket, do whatever he got to do, get into his shot pocket and shoot the ball. That's the only thing I saw wrong with the shot. I think but that's me. I'm not a pro telling a pro that his shot balance was off. Right? Yeah. But yeah, Mo, I just want to give these two coaches sometimes I think we get on and we forget where we come from, how we get to this point. It's 2 great coaches on the call. And I learned a lot from both of them. And most importantly, our players. I know we didn't get to that yet, man, but them players from us, man, we had 2 players dislocate their shoulders. One player's mom popped his shoulder back in and taped it, and he went back in the game. It was just crazy. It was crazy, man. Resilient bunch, man. I know the Marines are out there in Barksdale Air Force Base. Not normally very quiet. Y'all know I don't say a lot. Marines and Barksdale Air Force. But let me tell you, when I tell you Fort Benning packed, like the gym was quiet. But when Fort Benning came in before warm-ups, all their fans came in because it's like they're from Columbus, we're from the area. So, oh, Lord, here we go. I know how we're going to perform.
Hostile work environment.
Man, the Marines stayed, Barksdale stayed, like all their players. Fort Worth players stayed, because those are all the teams we had played. And talking about the support we received from them, it was amazing. Just from their players, feeling like we had a fan base there. It was amazing. It was amazing, and I really appreciate those guys also.
Yes. Coach Daniel.
Yes, sir. The Jimmy Butler shot. First, let me talk about Jimmy Butler shot. This is the way I look at it, right? They were on an 11-0 run. They had all the momentum. The weakest part of Jimmy Butler's game is actually shooting a 3-pointer. It would be like with Steph Curry. If the game is on the line, do I want Steph Curry going to the basket or do I want him shooting a jump shot? I want him shooting a jump shot. I'm not saying he can't go to the basket, but I want him shooting a jump shot. With Al Horford on you and the floor spread and all that momentum, if Jimmy Butler goes to the basket, one of 3 things are going to happen. I feel like he's either going to beat Al and make the shot, Al is going to foul him, or there's going to be a lot of help and he's going to find a wide open shooter. So, I get this shot. It was a momentum shot. But personally, at that point in time, I would have liked to see him go to the shrink. Now, in the locker room as a coach, would I have been like upset he shouldn't have took the shot? No, because I get it. And I get the flow of the game and how he was feeling in the run we were on. But thinking back, I would have liked to see him go to the rack. And Paul is a great coach. We played them a couple of times last year. And I remember that game in Colorado. I only had 6 guys. And it was funny because we were playing and, we're tired. We're playing against Cannon Air Force Base and they're ranked 5th. And I see these dudes across the way and they cheering for us. And I'm like, who the heck are these cats? And it was Paul and his guys. And he's right. They bringing us over Gatorades, man. They bringing us rollers because our guys are cramping and they over there cheering. It's one of those moments that I always talk about my players because I feel like even though we didn't advance in that tournament, I feel like we arrived in because, you know, it was something about the heart of pushing through that. And I always tell them, man, with 6 players, man, we beat that team. We lost to the prep team in overtime. And our first game, we lost to the team that eventually won it by like 8 or 9 points. And I only had 5 that game, and one guy fouled out and I had to play. So that is a tournament that I always go back to as sort of a stepping stone to help the program grow to where we are today.
And I know I've been a part of several where you, of course, cheering for a team to win as you as the opponent, and you just need that. It was, matter of fact, I think me and Bishop both, it was in flag football, of course, in Fort Hood, where, you know, saying being a DFAC team, we was frowned upon and thought we didn't have the skill level, and it came down to where we had to playing on Fort Hood back then. They had the divisions where it was 4 divisions, top 4 teams or each division playoff win, and we needed someone to win for us to get in, and it happened. So I mean that goes. So I can completely understand that. So like we said before, of course, before Commissioner Myers gets off, Boston and Golden State. We have Boston and Golden State.
Hey,
is it a Golden State clean sweep? Is that what we have
no,
here?
it's not going to be. It's
No.
Boston.
Ooh.
Come on now.
No.
It's Boston.
Ooh, what? Really?
What?
Commissioner.
It's not going to be a clean sweep.
It's not going to be Boston either, though.
It could go 6 or 7 games.
Okay.
Yeah, agree to that.
And I'm going to say that because, you know, everybody thought Golden State was going to, you know, beat Toronto, right? And then we had in Toronto, you know, did some things that we didn't expect. So I would tell you though, Steph Curry and Clay are playing great. Now you throw in, you know, Jordan Poole, you know, in that mix, they have a solid 5 options. And so it's going to be really hard to you know, the shooting, the way they're playing at this level right now, it's going to be extremely difficult. Boston can't have they can't afford to take half of a quarter off defensively. They just can't. And so if they do, that'll be the moment that they lose the game, because then Golden State just puts that much pressure on you. On the other end, we saw what we've seen in the past in the NBA Finals, past history, a team that comes in favored can lose. So the Lakers lost to Detroit Pistons in 2004, and it happens when you come in and you're heavily favored to win, but you can't meet the expectations of the odds. So it can happen. I don't say a clean sweep, but I would say Golden State in 6. 5 if Boston doesn't play well.
Coach Daniel?
This is a very interesting series because Boston is one of the few teams that I think, because typically the way you heard Golden State is you'll play bigger bodies. That's why I knew Dallas wasn't going to stand a chance, because Dallas pretty much plays their game. I mean, you go to the series back from Memphis, when they put Adams in the lineup, they started to hurt him a little bit. Now, Boston, if Robert Williams was healthy, where you could play Williams along with Horford, with Horford's defensive ability, I think that gives them a better chance. So I'm interested to see, will they downsize and at times put Williams out there along with Tatum and Brown, Smart, and you know, the guy that they picked up from San Antonio that I can't remember his name now.
White.
White.
Yeah, there you go, Derek White, and sort of go small and match Golden State, which might work out, but I don't know. I think this is a big legacy series for Golden State. That's why I think that Curry has to win this thing. I really feel like he has to win it. I feel like the home court advantage will come into play. And you watch the series against Miami, Boston has these issues in the closing moments where for 2 to 3 minutes, they'll just forget what the hell they're doing. You know, and they'll start going crazy. And Marcus Smart, everybody loves him. but he has the propensity to take bad shots at bad times. He's a guy
That part.
think sometimes doesn't
That
quite
part.
know his role, and he's incredibly valuable on that defensive end, but sometimes he thinks he's Oklahoma State Marcus Smart on the offensive end, and he goes a little crazy every now and then. He goes into John Wall mode, as I like to call it, and he might do that at the wrong time. But this series, I'm going to say Golden State in 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coach Parker, you look like you're reading the screen at some of the things. What did you say, Coach?
I got Boston in 6 or 7.
Ooh.
Let me tell you why. Jordan Poole can't guard a floorboard. Okay, so Wiggins is gonna guard Tatum. Wiggins
Okay.
gonna guard Tatum. We know that. Wiggins
All right.
gonna guard Tatum. They may cancel each other out depending on if now Wiggins that played the last 2 games, they may cancel each other out. Brown's gonna have to have a big series. Yeah, because Wiggins is a defender. Because I don't think Klay Thompson's all the way back defensively. Offensively, he's there. But to play on both now, before he got hurt, remind you, Klay Thompson was one, if not the best two-way player in the NBA.
In the game.
Both ends in the NBA.
Hold up, Coach, because I guess you had a call come in and disrupted.
Yeah, it messed up your whole thing.
Let me see.
While we wait for Coach Parker,
we can hear you now. We can hear you.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Can you hear us, Coach?
Can you hear us?
Yep, I got y'all back.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's gonna be big. How do Klay Thompson? But let me tell you, I was telling, and this one hard for me because I'm a old-time Chicago Bulls, Detroit Bad Boys fan all day, every day, right? This new young generation, they just don't care who you are. And they're not disrespectful. They show respect, but they don't fear you. And if they don't blow the Celtics out in game 1, they're gonna let it come down to game 7, and the Celtics gonna pull it out. Because anything can happen in game 7, I'm telling you, they have to blow them out by 20 to steal their confidence, take their heart away from them. If you don't, they're gonna lose in 7 to them. This young generation, they just don't. They don't care. They don't care who you are. And I equate that to they don't fear you because they put in the work. And I equate that to Fort Benning, coached by Fort Benning team down in Columbus. Man, they full of young athletic talent. And they don't care if you've been in the league X plus years. They're just gonna come out and they're gonna play you hard. They're gonna press you. They're gonna shoot the long ball. They're very talented, deep, skilled team. And Boston's just like that. Boston is 6 or 7. I called it.
Boston 6 and 7.
So this is my thing, Trey, in regards to what Coach Parker just stated, right? And I hear what he's saying. It's almost like a form of disrespect for when you say that they don't care in regards to who they playing against and stuff like that. But let me ask you this, Coach Parker, or let me put this out there to you, which I'm pretty sure y'all have heard. Golden State has 120 plus games in playoffs games. They've played 120 playoff games to Boston's 0. With the players they have now. I'm talking about the players that are on each team now. Boston's 0. With that being said, do you really think that experience, that playoff atmosphere in which Golden State has, mind you, we've talked about this numerous times, myself and Trey. This is the same 2018 team outside of Wiggins and Poole. Can we agree? Can we agree to that? That's pretty much the same 2018 Golden State Warriors champions from 2018 outside of Wiggins and Poole. Those are only 2 major differences within that squad.
The problem is you never know what's going to happen when you get on that stage.
Facts.
And once it's just when it gets to be winning time, people can go absent in a series. That's what scares me. And I think Paul's right. If Golden State comes in and they blow them out by 20 points, or they just win hands down solidly by 15, and they discourage them young guys, because if you're young, you're like, man, I got to guard Steph Curry. I got to guard Klay Thompson. we're not talking about the best shooter in the game. We're talking about the best shooters in the history of the game.
That
In the
part.
history of the game.
That part.
So if it can be overwhelming, but when you have a bunch of young dudes who really don't care, again, nobody knew, like Chauncey Billups, what's my man, Richard Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah.
Nobody knew who them dudes were, man, in 2004. They were good, right? But I mean, Rip was from the Wizards, that just came off playing with Michael Jordan. Billups had been floating around. He was in Boston.
Mhm.
You know, he was known for being injury prone. Them dudes
Mhm.
put it together in that series, and there was nothing that Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Gary Payton,
Karl
Karl
Malone,
Malone,
Devin
Karl
George.
Malone,
Devin George.
Devin
There
George.
was there was Derek Fish. There was nothing that those guys could do with Detroit that series. They should have got swept if it wasn't for Kobe. They could have got swept. There was nothing they could do. So stuff can happen in a 7-game series. If you come in and you don't play the way you're supposed to play, you come out, you're uncharacteristic. That's what I meant to say. You play out of your characteristics.
Mm. Mhm.
I feel you. I feel you. I just, for me, in my opinion, for the coaches, is that playoff experience is an advantage. It's a huge advantage when you go into these games in the finals. I feel like that playoff, we're talking about, like you said, two of the best shooters in the history of NBA is on one team. And somebody mentioned it
27.
on the comment. We got to keep in mind what Boston has yet to do. And if I'm not mistaken, they're 1-1 during the regular season. Boston 1-1, Golden State 1-1 during the regular season. But somebody mentioned that this is the thing. In a 7-game series, to sit around and chase Clay and chase Steph around that court night after every other night for 7 games is a task in itself. And I just don't feel as though Boston, I like Boston. I picked Boston to win, to be in the finals. I like Boston a lot. And I do agree with I do feel like Boston will force it to be games to 7 games. But with that, I still feel like Golden State has the upper hand, the better shooters, the better post game. I just feel like they're going to be more effective against Boston.
If it goes 7 games, Boston will win.
Ooh.
And here's the reason why I say that.
Ooh.
Think about what happened to Golden State. Don't play well on the road in Game 7. I mean, they don't play well in Game 7. Not in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Game 7 in the finals, Cleveland came back and took it to them.
Mm-hmm.
So if it goes 7, it cannot. The Boston Celtics want it to go to Game 7.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what happened with the Miami Heat. It went back to Miami and won a Game 7 on the road. The Heat, if Boston goes to Game 7, that's all they want. They just want to be. They're happy to be there. But like Paul was saying, you can't, if they come into this finals and they're not just happy to be there, they just want to be like, they want to win the whole thing. They're playing to win. Then it could be a long road, long haul for them. But I do think Golden State, on paper, facts, they have the tools to take this thing in 5 games.
Okay.
I am with that, of course. A couple of things, like you said. So one thing in which we have, of course, in the series, staying within this series. Actually, you know what? We'll double back to that because, of course, we have a fellow Laker fan that is on the line, and he has to get off soon so he can go get to his job. But Coach, Commissioner Myers, Darvin Ham, 4 years, Lakers. Do you think it was a good selection? How you feeling about the selection?
I love it. I know a lot of coaches out there think it should have been Mark Jackson. It should have been, all these different players. Darvin Ham has, come up, and you know what? He's come up through the NBA coaching ranks, right? And He was a player. He was on that 2014 that we were talking about, right? He's won a championship as a player. He's won a championship on the coaching staff. This is where I love what the Lakers did, because they got a seasoned guy. We could learn a lot from that in the military by looking at, some of our coaches that are seasoned guys, people that actually are doing the work week in and week out, and giving them, rewarding them with higher level opportunities. So I love the decision that they made with Darvin Ham. I think the Laker Nation is going to, come back and do a lot of great things. But man, a lot of people don't know Darvin Ham was that dude, man. Like, player wise, I mean, he had phenomenal ability. So, and then coaching, obviously, he's impressed somebody, because he's been on coaching staffs around the league, and I love it. I think it's a great move.
Okay, for the non-Lakers fans, Coach Daniel, Coach Parker, did y'all agree? Of course, I guess it makes a difference because they, Jeannie and the rest make the decision. But what did y'all think about the Darvin Ham hiring in LA?
I liked it. I like seeing new coaches get a chance, like do out there in Boston. I feel like these guys has been sitting on the bench for a couple of years. We saw with Nick Nurse up in Toronto, deserve opportunities, and I just get tired of seeing the same coaches get recycled, over and over. I keep hearing Dan Antonio names and guys like that. So I'm just happy to see the young brother get a chance. I think he's going to do good. LeBron James likes him already, which is, the big part in the NBA, because, if you start on you're on a short rope anyway. So I really do like the hire. It's something going on with Mark Jackson that I think is deeper than basketball.
It is.
But the basketball part is a play in there, because, he started the Golden State thing, but I think a lot of people forget that his last year there, the Golden State was number one in the NBA in ISO offense as well. When Steve Kerr came in, they completely changed the offense, and that's when it really took off. But there's something going on there with Mark Jackson, to where, honestly, unfortunately for him, I don't think we'll ever see that brother again on the sidelines, unless maybe it's one of those Sacramento King type of jobs that a lot of people might not want. I think that's where we are with him. But as far as him, though, I like the hire. I think it'll be good. Now, hopefully in LA, they step back, and it's not about Kurt Rambis and Magic and all these other guys, and let the coach the team.
Yeah, I agree.
Coach Parker?
Paris said something that stood out to me. A nice young coach, because he has to be able to relate. I wholeheartedly, I think a coach, you have to be able to relate to your players, especially when your players is not really, you got a young group. We all know LeBron hired that coach. I think we're all in agreement with that. That was a LeBron pick. Because Mark Jackson was, honestly, I think probably more qualified, but that was a LeBron pick. LeBron picked that coach. He's a player's coach. And defensively, like Coach Myers said, if you know anything about Ham, I think nothing that played into it. That joker played. You will play defense. I guarantee you're gonna have them playing defense. They gonna play. They're gonna come out. You're gonna hold them accountable too on the defensive end of the court, because he was one of those lockdown defenders. He's one of these passionate about basketball. So I think it was a good pickup. Really, a really good pickup. And then all of a sudden now, if you notice, the Lakers not trading Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah, no.
All of a sudden now, it's been announced they will not trade him. They're saying there's not enough picks in the NBA for them to trade Westbrook. They're not going to package it. There's not a package deal out there good enough for them right now. All of a sudden. Because just last week, he was gone. He requested a trade and everything. All of a sudden now, he's staying. So, all depends on who you had as the head. I think with the Lakers, though, LeBron doesn't play well. I know I'm getting off topic. He doesn't play well with other point guards. He doesn't play well. And either the point guard end up leaving or he leaves. He doesn't play well. He doesn't play well with ball. Look, Kyrie gone, Rondo gone. They won a championship. Rondo was gone. Who was with him? And they didn't. Mario Chalmers. He drove that man to China. He's playing overseas now. Seriously, he was a starting guard. You don't get that bad. And no knock on LeBron. I think he's one of the greatest to ever do it. But he just doesn't play well. I think that's what the Lakers' problem. because then you just got Westbrook sitting out there and you made him a spot-up shooter. That's not what Westbrook do. Westbrook three-point shot is based on him getting to the hole and seeing the ball go through the net. Now that three-point shot looks real easy to you. So they got to figure that out. If I'm LeBron, he's older. He's always getting injured towards the end of the year. I'll take a back seat and average 22 instead of trying to average 30. And let Westbrook, because Westbrook still got them young legs. Let him go crazy. And then you take over in the fourth quarter. That's what MJ did.
I think it's one of those things.
Warriors, huh?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Speaking about the Warriors, if Steph Curry is turnover prone in the finals, he's careless with the basketball at the wrong time. So hopefully he can fix that problem going into these finals.
So, of course, we have a lot. Coach Cal finally makes an appearance. Coach, we was looking for you at first. I thought what you was talking about with Dallas was going to go down. I was like, oh, Coach was the only person that was beating on his chest. What you was talking about, go Dallas. And I thought it was going to come to fruition. And then Luka showed up. And so, like I said, being a Laker fan, which at this point, myself, I'm looking at it like Darvin has been, like I said before, he's been a part of the organization, different under different coaches. None of those organizations, not being a part of any of those crews, did he win a championship for being with D'Antoni as well as Mike Brown. And then now he comes back, like you said, players coach. Hopefully it galvanizes. History is just like Coach Parker was just stating. That's why Westbrook isn't going nowhere now. I always believe that if you get a particular coach in there, Westbrook is going to stay because we all know, we heard the rumors of referencing him and Vogel, how he felt like he had no role. He didn't know what the role is. Hopefully it's a situation to where Darvin can get LeBron to come off the ball, like, son, chill. He's a point guard. That's why you bring him here. Let him do that. And certain sets and things will be ran. Maybe he can get Davis down low because he's, in my opinion, is another person that wants to play point forward and bring the ball up at times when he's not down in the paint. It just puts it together. I see where Coach Rod says 35 to 40 wins maybe next year. The disrespect. I'm going to keep that, make sure I keep that in my mind.
LeBron is good for 35 games all by himself.
Yeah, come on. Stop playing, Coach.
Man. LeBron is good for 35. Man. He's good for 40 games all by himself. And I'm not a LeBron fan, but the brother has talent, and he's good for 30. And then this is the year that he's going to score, like take the scoring title. I mean, come on.
Everyone says, oh, you know what? It's always old season. We did see the exploits of that type of defense. But like I said, now you have a coach that stands on defense. Every time we have a coach that stands on defense, it bodes well. It becomes a better position. Udonis has one. Look at, here it comes, all come. Wait, the Lakers are supposed to win the West this year, right? So was Roger. That's it. I got you, Chief. I'm checking, Chief. I'll be quiet. Yeah, I'll be quiet for now, Chief. I'll be quiet for now, Chief. Because what it is now currently the only teams that are there is Boston and Golden State. At the end of the day, all of us are. Everyone else is in Cancun, posted up, and playing games.
Where's Chicago?
Wait.
I was about to say that too, Chief, Coach. I was about to say the same thing.
I want to know if LeBron James is good for 40 games a year. What the hell happened because they only won 33 this year?
He ain't played all the whole season, Coach.
Oh, so what you're saying is he gonna jump in a time machine this summer, go backwards, and all of a sudden he's gonna get younger and less susceptible to injuries. Okay, that makes sense. The Bulls, don't worry about the Bulls. We're going to be fine. We're going to sign Zach LaVine. We have to do something about Lonzo Ball's knee because it's worse off than mine right now. So if we can get his knee fixed, that next summer, once Vucevic's contract comes off the books, we'll be able to move around and get a max slot and go ahead on and get that centerpiece we need where Zach LaVine can slide down to the number 2 role, which is what he eventually has to be on the championship team. So that's what we had. And don't worry about us. Our arrow pointing up. The Lakers, that's what happened when you let LeBron be the GM because they should have never brought in Westbrook. They should have kept that roster because they should have made the trade for Buddy Hield and somebody else, but bringing in Westbrook, he wasn't thinking big picture because he can't function with it. You're right. LeBron with point guards already it's a struggle, and then you bring in Westbrook where they basically gonna fight each other for the ball. So that was a bad move on LeBron's part. LeBron the GM, but I don't see the Lakers arrow pointing up because LeBron not getting no younger. Unless he goes stat chasing like he did this past year, but
So I ask this as coaches, in that situation where you're the coach and you have, unless you're agreeing with LeBron in what he's doing, how do you control that situation where your star is basically fighting with another star for what position is rightfully theirs as a point guard? Like, how do you corral that and bring that in to get the team or them two players or that player to stand behind? Hey, this is what I want and this is what I need.
They brought in a coach that's going to hold them accountable. Okay, so the bottom line is that, I mean, it's two ways. I mean, I don't think Darvin Ham is going to be he has to accept that position with the Lakers. He can't just, that's a two-way street. You're not going to just, yeah, I'm hired. That's great and everything. But if you hire me to do a job, I got to make sure that my two stars can coexist. And I have to make that work somehow. If they make it work with Russell Westbrook, who's still in his prime, and LeBron James, who's starting to, I would say maybe not. First of all, you muted, Coach. I would say Russell Westbrook is at that. He's at that plateau where he's on a little bit of a decline, right? He's on a little bit of a decline, but you can see the resurgence of players in this league, right? I mean, we thought your guy from Chicago, Derrick Rose, was done, okay, and then all of a sudden he had life in his career. What all I'm saying is, if Darvin Ham can make those two players coexist, we'll start hearing the talk about it's not fair. They have two Hall of Fame players on their team. Let's not forget, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double twice. He's averaged a triple-double twice. So if he can return to that type of form, then I think the Lakers are important. The last thing I'll say is this to all these Laker haters out there that are from Chicago. What are the Bulls doing? What's their strategy? And I'm talking all sports teams out of Chicago.
I can't. Can I get in now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, we're gonna get to the coaching aspect of Russell Westbrook. Personally, me as a coach, I would stagger those guys. I would stagger Russell Westbrook would be my first sub out. I'd bring him back and effectively make him the second unit point guard, where playing with the second unit, you're the focal point of the offense, and you can go crazy and do all your Russell Westbrook stuff. I would build a unit. I'm serious. I would build a unit around him to take advantage of what he still may be able to do.
Right.
And make him feel important. I really would do that. Now, at the end of the game, we're going to have to figure something out in the last 5 minutes, right? Or maybe you might not close every game depending, but I would make that second unit his role and make him understand that. Now, Russell Westbrook, the player, is declining. Here's something, I don't care what level that you're on, NBA, high school, I look for accountability in basketball players. And when you listen to Russell Westbrook, that last interview he did, it was straight defiance. He blamed everything on the coach. I didn't understand my role. I hate hearing that. I hate hearing it on our level, especially in the NBA.
Yeah.
You are in the NBA. Your role has been established for you. Frank Vogel and all these guys, you mean to tell me you guys haven't had several meetings, several film sessions where he never told you what he wanted you to do? No, you just couldn't perform in your role. Russell Westbrook, the things that made him great are also the things that will hurt him as far as being defiant. as far as ever working on your game, as far as when your athletic ability starts to wane, which it is now. He's still a good athlete, but in the NBA, it's full of great athletes. Now, can you effectively shoot the basketball? Can you hit a 15 to 18-foot jump shot effectively when teams collapse on you? And the answer is no. That's something that he's never worked on. And as far as his triple doubles, all I'm going to say is this. I remember when he first started averaging, I'm watching games, and I'm watching Steven Adams on a box, on free throws, basically box his man out, stand there, and let Westbrook run in. I went and watched them play here when he was with OKC. They're playing a game against the Suns. It becomes evident that the Suns are going to win the game. Now, I spin up for it, so I had a decent take, and I was sitting in a fourth row, so I could get a feel and I could hear it. During the stretch of that game, Russell Westbrook had 7 assists. He went through a stretch where he shot the ball 6-7 straight possessions. When it's evident they're going to lose, he's coming down. He keeps passing the ball to Doug McDermott, and he's yelling at him, shoot the damn ball. Shoot the damn ball, because he's trying to pad those stats. Can everybody do what he did to average triple-double? No. You have to be very talented to do that. But it definitely wasn't organic. It was something that he and that team went out of the way for him to do. And that's why, even though he's a great player, you have to be great to be able to do that. I've never been as high on Russell Westbrook. And Derrick Rose, what we saw was him come back and become a complimentary player. He didn't reverse the time clock to where he's an effective NBA starter. No, he proved that when his body allows him to play, which it hasn't, out of the past, like 2 out of the past 3 years, that he can be an effective role player. Nothing more, nothing less. And I love D Rose.
Not the form of not the MVP Rose from the past where he was actually dominant. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Russell Westbrook is in a better position to have a resurgence than Carmelo Anthony, than D Rose. Russell Westbrook, there ain't nothing really wrong with him. He's not had any major injuries that have taken him out. That you work that over the summer. You got to get a jumper. I mean, I'm not going to
coach. He won't, coach. He won't though.
And that listen, 80% of Russell Westbrook's problem is Russell Westbrook. We're not going to sit back and say that it's not, but at the same time, we can't deny that he's got talent, right? And that his talent, if it ever decides to reappear, that it's a factor and it can be dominant. I agree with you though, Coach. It was a team thing for him to get those triple doubles. It was an understood process that those players and that organization were saying, hey, look, this is what this guy can do. And we're going to let him do it, even though, the winning the game be damned. So that's just kind of like where it's at. But I'm out. I'm about to head up the road. Appreciate y'all. I love the show. Thank you for having me on, and I'm glad to spend this hour with you guys, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We
look forward to seeing you, my coach. And we'll talk, like me, Bishop, talking about what we talking about all four before we go.
Absolutely.
So look forward to speaking to you. We about to get on Coach Daniel Head about these Chicago teams though. But yeah,
get him. All right, fellas.
All right, man. Have a good one, Coach Barnes.
So, Bishop, Coach Dan's first time on here, Air Force, but we won't hold that against him. Air Force, Luke Air Force Base, like you said, Western Conference champions. And so when we first got on, and then before I could really get to talking, the first thing I noticed, just like we noticed with DJ when he was on, a huge banner in the back, right? So in this case, not just
Chicago,
one
everything.
team, Chicago, Chi-Town, everything. Chi-Town season 5 coming back. You know what I'm saying? I'll be checking it out. But and then Coach Uriah, of course, jumps on there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Chi-Town stands up or whatever case like that. So Blackhawks, Bears, Bulls, Sox. Not the Cubs, but the Sox. That's
Yeah.
Choosing sides, you know what I'm saying, choosing allegiances. So I guess there's no use in even asking what squads in which you represent. But so since we're here, we're still with the in the NBA, because there is, it's interesting enough, he happens to be on, and there I do have some stuff in reference to the Chicago Bears as we move, when we get ready to move into the NFL. But of course, Coach, what we usually do, we ask a couple of questions that can be subjective at times, in which to just to get a understanding in your ideal in your opinion on some things. So, of course, one of the first questions I have is, I have two squads for you, and in these two squads, I will give you a names of some players, in which I just want to know from you directly who gets the W in any era. You know what I'm saying? Let's put it in any era. Playing, we can separate through eras. The first squad I will give you is Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Their opponent is LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, and who was the other one? Do you remember the other one, Bishop?
I don't.
Uh,
No,
uh,
my memory is bad.
Steph Curry, and I don't think it was Kyrie. It wasn't Kyrie. LeBron James, KD, Giannis, Steph, and we just give him Ja Morant. Who gets to the W?
The team with the GOAT on it, of course, Michael Jordan. So
There
you
you
got
go.
Michael Jordan. You got Michael
There you
Jordan
go.
on the same team, and you have his clone Kobe Bryant on the same team. There is
There
no
you
way that
go.
that team is losing, because
That part.
those dudes will do whatever in the hell they have to do to get that W. And boy, are we abusing Steph Curry. We are putting him in every pick and roll because he can't guard nobody out there, and we're gonna beat him up. And if you thought Matthew Dellavedova beat him up in the finals, wait till you see what MJ and Kobe do to him, because they would take that challenge, because they're bigger, they just act as athletic, and they would smother him. Now, the Greek and KD, that will be an issue. But with Larry Bird, and you guys remember before Larry started hurting his back, Larry was a bad boy.
There's a problem.
He's going to rebound, he's going to shoot. So he's the type of guy that's going to go toe to toe with Greek and Giannis. So yeah, give me the team with the GOAT. And I have Magic Johnson,
Yes,
ultimate winner at point guard. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a big team where we can run, we can play in the half court, we can do it any way you want to. Any way you want to, we can play that basketball game.
Okay. The next question: 2-on-2. You got Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen versus LeBron and who? Anyone in history? Who you putting up against Michael Jordan and Pippen with LeBron?
Let's see. I would probably give him Kobe.
Kobe.
I would
and why Kobe?
Because Kobe is the closest thing to Mike that we'll ever see.
So, Bishop, you know what I'm starting to see here? I'm starting to see a lot, and please let me, just like I heard Coach Uriah say, a true Chicagoan. Do you hear a slight bias, Bishop? I don't know. I just want to check and see.
A slight bias in regard. Well, he is a Chicagoan, so you gotta expect him to come.
So everything is Jordan. Everything's going to
okay. I mean,
but
like I said, I would give him Kobe, because your process is, you would think that Kobe could do enough to try to cancel out Mike. So now it comes down So now it comes down to Pip versus
LeBron and Pippen.
Right, and LeBron is a superior offensive player to Pippen. So that gives you a chance to win that 2-on-2. See, that's very objective. See,
I got you, Coach. I see. I like the way you did that. I see. So, Bishop, you can hit him with the Mount Rushmore.
Okay, yeah. So Coach Daniels, everybody we bring on here for the first time, we give them an opportunity to pick their NBA Mount Rushmore collage. So, of course, we all know there's only 4 gentlemen heads on Mount Rushmore. So, if you could pick an NBA Mount Rushmore, who would your 4 players be? And it can be of any era of all time, NBA star. Who are your 4 Mount Rushmore NBA players?
I have to go with the GOAT. I have to go with MJ.
Expected.
Wow, this is good. Because
All right, even got you circled already out the rip.
Out the gate. Out the gate.
I will go with Hakeem because I just thought Hakeem was the best all-around center that I've ever seen. So I'm gonna go with.
Is that the first?
Yeah, that is the first. I think that's the first
Hakeem that we had on there. Okay, go ahead.
I love Hakeem, so I'm gonna go with Hakeem. I'm gonna go Mike. I'll go with LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just what he's done overall. I will put him on my Mount Rushmore for now. But let me think about this because I might have to pull him off.
Mm-hmm.
And for changing the game, the way he's changed it, especially if he wins this championship, I will go with Curry.
Figured that.
Now, with the LeBron thing, you could go Magic. I'll stay away from guys like Oscar Robertson and Will Chamberlain and those guys. No disrespect to those guys. I'm definitely not a JJ Redick. I'm not going to disrespect them.
Right.
I didn't put eyes on them and see them in their prime. And I'm not talking to my uncle who's older than me. He talks about those guys and he tells me how bad of a boy Walt Frazier was and all these guys. But
right.
Since I didn't get to put my eyes on them and see them, at a time where I understood basketball, that's why I go with this. I guess you could say this current generation, going back to the late 70s, early 80s, as far as my Mount Rushmore.
Let me ask you this, Coach Daniels. Why? Because you just spoke highly of an individual, yet you left him off your Mount Rushmore. Why LeBron over Kobe?
Because I already have Mike there. I already have Mike. So putting Kobe on would be like, doubling down. The doubling down on that. So that's why I'll go with LeBron. Now, I think LeBron sort of ruined the NBA, but that's a whole other story. As far as the team building and the lack of competitive nature that you see so much with a lot of these guys and all this hugging and kissing. That's why everybody was mad at Pat Beverly for what he said, which I don't get because I sort of agree with what Pat Beverly said.
And he's in Phoenix. He's in Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm not a Chris Paul fan. I feel like he's always been catered to. I feel like the cart was put before the horse because this guy has always been, I think the media and a lot of fans assumed that he would win championships. I get it. He's a floor general, great player, but he always comes up small in the bigger moments. So when those moments happens and he comes up small, now it's we got to protect Chris Paul thing. And you see guys like Stephen A. Smith, boviating about how he's only 6 feet tall and all this stuff. But we don't hear none of that during the regular season. And it's what Chris Paul does. He comes up small when it counts. And I had nothing wrong with what Pat Bam said. Maybe it was because it was coming from Pat Bam, but then he went on to say he would max out James Harden too. So, you can't listen to everything that guy says. So that's where I am on that.
Okay, I get it. We can rock with that. Definitely. Yeah. Like Olajuwon, like I believe was the first.
That we heard,
but it isn't. Isn't far off. I can completely understand that. So, so getting into this NFL stuff, some things in which we have as far as the NFL. First thing, which is hilarious I don't know, I was gonna let it pass and push it, but I think as I was just looking at it again, It's a little bit of MLB, of course, Major League Baseball, but in the football, where outfielder for the Cincinnati, Tommy Pham, has been suspended for smacking another grown man in Jock Peterson over a fantasy football beef.
Oh
In
wow.
which you know, say fantasy football is huge for myself and Bishop as we have a fraternity, a military fraternity that we are a part of, and we usually have a a fantasy football league within our fraternity, and I've won the last one, Coach Daniel, and I've been in the Final Four the past 2 years. Well, I've been in the Final Four all 3 years that has been in existence, and I've won one of the three championships, being the last, in which Bishop has not been too. He hasn't done well, just to say that. So in that being said, I could wonder, like, is there a point to where he has wanted to smack any of us that have been
The
victorious
hell
in
out of
it?
you. The hell out of you. Just the hell out of you. The hell out of you. The hell
But
out of you.
for what is being said, presumably some of the issues that came up in this particular instance is due to the fact that the I guess Jock Peterson did something that was against the rules, and Pham said he said something additionally, I guess, in their chat room in the league, and he hadn't seen him or communicated with him since the end of the season, and it just so happened their game was rained out, so he walked over to their dugout, to their room, their club, and had words with him and smacked him. And now, saying, so Tammy Pham got suspended for I think 3 games. So I guess I'm just saying now
Fantasy football really been over for months.
he ain't seen him. He probably it's just
holding
been
a grudge
festering.
like that. Good
Yeah,
Lord,
it's
that's
been
a
festering.
grudge to hold.
But but like you said, the hell out of you, so I can understand. I get it, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're talking, when you believe you can do better, and then it's like just like with these teams, sometimes you gotta smack
So,
folks
Coach
for
Daniels,
talking
this is
wrestling.
what I will say to actually justify why I would slap the hell out of Trey. First off, the fact of the matter is, what for the first 2 seasons, right? The first 2 seasons, I was having technical difficulties on my fantasy team. For whatever reason, I couldn't get into my fantasy stuff. So a lot of games, and if you look back, you can see I wasn't even moving people around. I wasn't even doing anything. I wasn't pacing. I wasn't putting in a starting lineup or anything because for whatever reason, I couldn't get into my fantasy team. So that's pretty much what happened initially. Now, this past season, it was what it was. I took that L. I took a major L. I give it that. But the first 2, I was having major issues. But again, yeah, when it comes down to it, when I see Trey on site, it's gonna be Will Smith and Chris Rock. Yep, Will Smith and Chris Rock, and I'm Will.
Fantasy football is life. I run a 14-team league that I won last year. Then I run a 10-team 2 QB league.
Okay.
And I was in a dynasty startup league last year, 16 teams. I won that one. So yes, fantasy football.
So what you're telling us, Coach, is that we're only 2 people on this panel right now that got rings. So at this point, Bishop is Chuck. Is what you're telling me.
Here we go.
Bishop is Chuck at this point. I'm picking up what you put down, Coach. I'm picking up. I'm picking up what you put down. I'm picking up what you put down. I got you, Coach.
Love fantasy football. Love it. Can't wait.
Yeah, all right. I do too. But don't worry. We doing one on here. First formations, inaugural. First fantasy football is coming up.
Yes, I want to be in that. I want to be in that. I want to be in that.
For sure. It's coming.
That's what I need. Yeah, I need competition, Coach. I need obviously.
Oh wow! See, that's why I'm smacking. See, that's why I'm smacking. See? That's why I'm smacking right there. Because
this is how it starts.
Yes, that's how it starts. That's how it starts right there.
And then it's going to be a year from now. It's going to be first formation host Trey and Bishop get into an altercation as Trey.
Oh
Oh
man,
goodness.
yeah.
So a little recap because, like I said, of course, Coach wasn't on yesterday. Bishop wasn't on yesterday. What do y'all have to say in reference to tight ends getting this money? We don't, of
Getting
course,
that bag.
we don't sit up, and we're not discouraging people from getting the bags, but there
Mhm.
is things to be talked about. David Ujoku, 56 million, four
Cleveland.
years from Cleveland. Maybe that's why. Cleveland. Maybe that's why.
I think it might be a part of it. They're looking at
Um,
they're looking at big things coming out of Watson once he gets to play.
I guess the tight end position has changed. We saw it with Jimmy Graham. Remember back in the day when he was fighting because he wanted to be paid like
Wide
a wide
receiver play.
receiver,
Hmm.
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
then you had the Antonio Gonzalez era. Now we have Travis Kelce and Waller out with the
Hmm.
Raiders. They can be very effective pieces, but a guy like him in Cleveland, he doesn't have that ability that those other guys have. I don't want to take any money out of anybody's pocket, but he's not a guy that I would pay
He's not a
that type
Waller,
of
a
money for.
Kittle.
It reminds me of the tight end that left Atlanta and went to Cleveland and got that big contract and fizzled out. They want to pay all these guys this big money, and some of them just aren't that guy. And I don't think he's that guy. He's not on that level. I wouldn't have done it. That's for sure.
Mm.
Additionally, Coach, Bishop is a huge, for whatever reason, Oklahoma Sooner fan when it comes to
Well,
college,
for whatever reason,
Okay.
really.
and so of course
Disrespect.
we know currently one of his favorite teams alumnus, that being Baker Mayfield, is having trouble getting traded from Cleveland due to the fact of some teams are willing to take the trade. However, they're only want to pay 5 to 6 million of his $18 million contract that's left, in which Cleveland is stating that they will pay up to half, or just a little over 9 million, to move him. Why do you think people aren't jumping at the opportunity to take this Heisman Trophy starting quarterback?
Because of this. I was talking to somebody about that a couple weeks ago. If you look at a guy like Jimmy G, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy G is the type of guy that 6, 7 years from now, we're going to be watching a game, and you're going to be, it'll be Buffalo, and they're going to be showing Josh Allen on the sidelines, and he's going to be going, and he's talking to the backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and we're all going to go, damn, I didn't realize he was there now. Jimmy Garoppolo is the type of guy that stays quiet, stays humble. No matter what's going on, you're not going to hear anything from him. Even with Trey Lance coming in, didn't say anything, even, it's evident he's going to lose his job. That shows something. That's the type of guy you want to bring into your organization, right? Now, let's flip it to Baker Mayfield, who hasn't performed. This is the type of guy that says, I wish I could go to the fans' jobs and boo them, right? Who wants to bring that type of guy into the locker room? Because you already know the type of attitude you're getting, and the attitude doesn't match up with his talent level. So that's why they're having such a hard time moving him.
And you know what, that coach it's funny that you say that, because what I see from my standpoint, and I'm a little fearful of self because I'm a USC fan, and as we all know,
Trash.
they have just received Lincoln Riley, who is the former coach of both Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, who, from what we've seen, both on kind of doing the same thing. So, in which I'm starting to believe that in Oklahoma, that has been a environment, or that has been what has been predicated upon these players. Yes, they're Heisman Trophy winners. True, that fact of the matter. But
Spencer Rattler, yeah.
Thank you, Coach Spencer Rattler as well. I don't know. I'm fearful for the Trojans in a sense, but you do bring up a good point, because I am also a 49ers fan, and Jimmy Garoppolo, although Jimmy Garoppolo has been very productive for San Francisco when on the field. However, he has not got us the championship in which we have, but we have been to multiple multiple conference championship games. It just hasn't happened yet. But I do agree that Jimmy Garoppolo is that type of player where you don't hear him talking and all the loud talk the same as you do with Baker Mayfield. So I do agree with that. Bishop, anything you have to say on the
Of
factor
course,
Mayfield?
I'm gonna have something to say about that because you're talking about Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. Of course, I'm gonna say something about that. Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy. Yes, seems to be very humble. Baker Mayfield is just Baker Mayfield. That's how he was in college. He was a very boisterous and outspoken type of person in OU. He's the guy that planted the flag on the OU flag on the Texas Longhorns field when we won the Red River Shootout.
The
That's Baker.
disrespect.
That's just Baker. He is that type of dude. But we can say the same thing for Deshaun Watson, a very humble guy who doesn't say a whole lot, doesn't speak pretty much at all. And he's getting that bag. So in regards to why people may not want to take a chance on Baker, it's because of his gameplay, of what he did in the last season. He didn't have a great season. He didn't he had a lot of bad publicity in regards to the things that were going on outside of outside of the field, what wasn't going to happen in between the numbers. So a lot of people don't want to take a chance with a guy like that. And it's a lot of it is his own doing. It's his fault that he's in a position in which he's in. A lot of people, including myself, have said prior to, yeah, he needs to just shut up and play ball.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, play ball, and keep it moving. That's what Kyler's doing. Kyler ain't doing a lot of talking.
Kyler's still talking, ain't he? I was about to say, do you feel the same way for Kyler?
He's not talking. Kyler, only thing Kyler's talking about is regards to he wants a bigger contract. That's it.
Contract. Mm-hmm.
That's all he's talking about. That's it. He ain't said nothing else other than that. So, but a lot of people has been doing that, from the Aaron Rodgers to all these other quarterbacks and wide receivers that talking about they want the bag. That's all Kyler Murray wants. He wants something to cement him in Arizona, or he wants to be moved on out to somewhere else. But either way, Baker Mayfield made his bed, so now he got to sleep in it. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. If a team take a chance on him, it is what it is. They will. But if they don't, he's gonna be right there, probably starting. If Deshaun Watson gets suspended. So it is what it is.
So, Coach, especially when it comes down to NFL, on here we have had plenty of conversations, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, again, I'm not against in any way, form, or fashion people getting paid, but I do, however, have a little issue with people who are under contract and coming back and be like, "Hey, I'll play my contract. I'm not coming back to camp until y'all give me another contract." So currently we have two factions at this point, outside of the ones of which we know. Just recently, one more player, and Bishop, I don't know if you missed it or not. I know yesterday we talked about it a little bit. Standout wide receiver Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers has been added to the fray of not playing because he wants another contract. So I ask you, Coach, because I know how Bishop feels. I ask you, how do you feel about this? In which, after your response, we're going to go to another player in Aaron Donald, who is kind of on the same thing, but his is a little different, which we'll go a little more in depth to. But as far as wide receiver Deontay Johnson, who is playing his rookie contract, what do you think about these players who feel they outplayed their contract and think they should be getting paid more in layoff?
I guess sort of like the Deebo Samuel situation as well. Mm-hmm. This is a hard one because I think you have to go with the philosophy in the NFL, right? I got to go back for a second before I come forward.
Yes.
I feel like this is something where the NFL Players Association, it seems like whenever there's time for the new CBA, they fight about things, as far as it seems like their whole goal is less practice, less padded practices, less this, less that, less OTAs, where I've always thought due to the injury clause, we're never going to see guaranteed contracts in the NFL like you see in the NBA. But I've always thought that they should try to create a scale, especially for the rookie contract, sort of like, in the NBA, your rookie contract, when you're hitting certain escalators, it puts you up, for max or super max, or, you made this all NBA team, you made this, right? So I feel like in the NFL, they should strive to do something like that to help guys on their rookie deals. If they hit certain incentives in that rookie deal, you automatically get paid more. You automatically get an extra, maybe an extra $5 million signing bonus or something of that nature. Because it's tough, because I feel like you sign a contract, you're under the contract, you know what the deal is, then you just have to play it out. Because what's going to happen if a team gives in to you, they pay you this big money, now a year into the deal, they don't have the ability to say, hey, we want to renegotiate now because you're not living up to your part, right? Where's our 103 receptions, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns? You gave me 75, 6, and so can we go backwards? It's a bad situation. It's hard, especially dealing with these wide receivers, because once one guy does it, now everybody does. Tyreek Hill, okay, now I want to get paid. Now, we go to my man out there in Tennessee. Okay, pay me or trade me. Okay, we're going to trade you. Now we get paid. So now everybody else is like, hey, I'm next. When is my turn? I want to get paid. It's rough, man. Deontay Johnson, I would not pay him big money. Deebo Samuel, I would, because he's a weapon. So I would try to work out a deal with him, especially considering I can put him at running back as well. But Deontay Johnson, nah, I wouldn't do that. No.
Bishop, you have anything in reference to it? Deontay Johnson, Pittsburgh, as we know, Juju is no longer there. They do have Claypool that's still there. I forgot the name of their Freemuth is their tight end, I believe. They do have what's the name? The running back, the bell cow running back in I can't remember. He was my fantasy team last year. Did pretty good. But Alabama. So, but do you think Deontay is just like he was saying, doing what everyone else is doing, Bishop, or is he one of those players who probably does deserve to get played? Although he was pretty productive for them last year, but of course you had Ben, who was on the fritz sometimes with the injuries. Claypool showed up at certain points. So do you think he is deserving of that and has the right to? I mean, everyone has the right to, but do you think he has a leg to stand on in reference to him sitting out?
Yeah, he got a leg. If Tyler got a leg, he got a leg.
Okay.
He sure do. If Tyler got a leg, he got a leg. I mean, when it's all said and done, man, all contracts should be able to be renegotiated. And if you've done enough and you've done a substantial part to your team's success, yeah, renegotiate and try and get that big contract. Why not?
So what is enough though? Like, or is this something that should be maybe like Coach was said? Should it be laid out in the contract prior to, so that way you already have these points to
If you
where it
lay it out,
opens up the
yeah.
negotiation?
If you lay it out, then like Coach said, if you lay these things out to players prior to, so they know what the expectations are, then yeah, there's no gray area. They know what to expect. They know, okay, I got to do this, 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 and this to even think about trying to renegotiate my contract. If
And
I
you know
don't
what,
do
for me,
3 of the 4 things to renegotiate my contract, then there's nothing for me to come to the table with, because it's stated in the contract that I need to do these 3 to 4 things or however many things to even come to the table to renegotiate. But if I fall short and I got 2 instead of the 3 out of the 4, I don't have a leg to stand on. There's nothing for me to talk about because I didn't fulfill the obligation within the contract.
So for me, I think it would. I could get down with what y'all both are saying, but for me, I think it would have to be over. It ain't just 1 year. You're not going to come sign the contract and then come next year. It got to be. If you got a 4-year contract, usually the rookie contract, 4 years contract with the year option for the player team to pick up on the 5th year, then you got to produce it got to be an average or something produced where we can even come to the table and talk about renegotiating. Because in the case of Debo, which San Francisco is trying to give him his money, it's just he doesn't want to be there. But in his case, Debo has only produced this year. And from what we talked about before, Kyler Murray has only produced actually this year, even though he did win the Rookie of the Year in his
So
first
that's
year.
that's
But
producing. You can't exclude that if he won Rookie of the Year.
won the Rookie of the Year in his first year, but here we are in his 4th year, and
You
this is the
cannot
first time.
exclude that though. You
I'm
can't
not
say
saying excluded. I'm not saying
okay.
excluded, but what has happened is you won Rookie of the Year. Let's keep in mind he won Rookie of the Year, but the team did not do anything. So he did win an individual award, but the team was trash. He came back 2 years later. Here we are, his 4th year. For the first time in 4 years, he gets them to the playoffs. And now you're talking about I don't want to play my 5th year out because I feel like I've done enough for you to pay me down. In which, in essence, it doesn't seem like that because the team has only been successful 1 to 4 years. Although out of them 4 years, I think he was injured in one or two of them. But still, is that my fault?
Is that his?
Is it? Did he do
I'm
what he was
asking.
supposed
You
to do
saying
for it?
you asked the question. Is it? Is it? You asked the question. Is it his
so
fault?
okay. So speaking from a team aspect, just in case, when I say my fault, is it my fault? Did we not do enough to prepare your body? Does that probably rely only on me? If you are playing, Bishop, and you have played before, if you are playing, are you doing? Yes, the team provides, but are you doing something on the side yourself
The
to keep your
question is
body
how
at
did.
the best time?
But the question is, see, you can't answer that question without knowing the reason why how he got hurt. Why did he get hurt? How did he get hurt? Was it a sack? Was it because the line didn't protect him? Did he get hurt because of his own account? Because he was running out of the pocket, and he took a hit that he probably shouldn't have took. What caused him to get hurt? Because that plays a key factor. If it was on his own accord, then yeah, you gotta look at the fact. Well, damn it, Kyler, you ran out the pocket. You didn't slide when you should have slid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just like when Carson Wentz got hurt, the Super Bowl season, he diving in the end zone and took that hit in the end zone, put him out. He couldn't play in the Super Bowl. Whose fault is that? Is that his fault, or is that on the trainer's fault, or is that on the team, or is that on
fault for drafting him?
No. Well, yeah, that part too. But and not only that, it's his fault because he chose to put his body in that predicament to take that hit. Yeah, you will make sacrifices to win games. You will take certain sacrifices to help your team get a win. Which that's exactly what he did. But when it's all said and done, that's why when you say this in regards to the contract thing, and it has to be for not just 1 year, it has to be for 4 years or more. You have to be consistent or whatever. However, I get it. But if you're hurt, your consistency is irrelevant because you're hurt for half a season now. Now you're hurt. Now what? Now you saying now you really ain't gonna want to pay me because I ended up getting hurt. Well, it's not my fault. I got hurt, or is it my fault?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So before I know, Coach, you got to get ready to get off here in a second. So I like to double back because I'll go further with Bishop as you drop off in reference to this Aaron Donald situation and some other things. So of course I asked this question, Coach. I mean, what do we have next, or what is it there to look out for with Luke Air Force Base now? Back to back Western Conference MBA conference champions. Where of course everyone sees, I'm very sure is the championship, MBA championship, or bust. What are your the outlook that you have coming up for you and your guys in July in Colorado?
To go up there and defend that championship as well.
Correct.
That's the goal. We're going to take a little time off here. We'll get back in the lab in a couple weeks and start grinding and start honing and just becoming not only physically but also mentally prepared when you go into these tournaments. Because one thing I believe in, I always tell my guys, I always tell them, that I feel like we come to play our game. I feel like we can beat any team out there, but I also feel like if we don't, anybody can beat us. So that's the mindset that you have to have, because all these teams are good. They say we just have Paul on. You got Myers, you got Uriah down there, Fort Hood, and Dave Anderson and Kent Pendleton, and these are great coaches, man, and these are great teams. So they are going to be prepared as well. Ace at Fort Benning, who seems like have all the momentum in the world. Cannon Air Force Base has a good team. So, I respect all these guys, and that's why you have to be prepared. You have to take care of your bodies, get your work in, start preparing for dealing with that elevation up in Colorado, because it will catch you there. And just hone in on your game plans. I mean, me personally, I just focus on my team and try to focus on what it is that we do best. And of course, I'll scout the other teams before the game. We'll have our pregame meeting and, our game plan. We'll go over their individual personnel when it gets to that time. But I don't like to get, look forward, because, that's something the players do. They'll be asking me about day 3, coach, if we win these first 2, whoa, slow down. Let's whoa. I'm like, honestly, I don't even look at the brackets. We're in Vegas. They were like, what time do we play tomorrow? I'm just worried about the game we got in about an hour. We'll worry about tomorrow when we get there. Let's just focus in right now on the task at hand. So that's the goal, man. Continue to just play hard, man. Put our best effort out there, and as long as you play up to your capabilities, you're not gonna win them all, but you live with the results, and it's all about camaraderie and learning, and bringing your young guys along in the program. And as long as you do those things, man, and grind and do things the right way, you'll be successful. I believe that.
So, 2-time conference champion, making the attempt to make it 2-time back-to-back MBA champion. Who did y'all play last year, coach, for the championship?
Kent Pendleton. We played Fort Campbell. That day we played Fort Campbell the first game, and then turned around and played Kent Pendleton the second game. And it was the Final Four. It was us, Fort Campbell, Kent Pendleton, and Mike Myers' Colorado team.
Oh, okay.
We were the Final Four last year.
Bishop, the Marines pop up again. I know you had a chance to see them play at MG33. The Marines keep on popping up. Before you get off, can you speak to the competition where you come from, the Marines? Because that's the organization that we keep on hearing about. The Marines are hard to beat.
Yeah, they're usually very, they're very deep. You basically have a couple Marine bases, one on each side of the United States, so they're strategically set up that way. Then you have another, smaller one right there in the middle. So even though they're a small force, when you basically have 2 bases, you have your personnel sort of concentrated in these 2 areas, which gives them a very good talent pool. So, and when they show up for games, man, we're talking like, I swear to God, this weekend, I think Dave had about 25 doggone Marines down there on that end, man. All I kept seeing was black and red every time I came down there. I was like, where does this dude come from, Who this guy checking into the game? So they're always tough, physically they're tough. They're Marines, so they're going to be physical. They're going to play physical, and it's going to just be a very gritty game. You're going to have to match their level of intensity. Otherwise, they're just going to bully ball you out of there. That's what it's going to come down to. And the Army teams are sort of the same way. Uriah and his guys, they're big, they're physical. Uriah is more of a thinking man's coach, so it's always a lot of strategy involved with him. Paul, same way. Paul's team is very big. I love his guards, Wooten and the other guy, Boyd. I have a Boyd on my team too. Good backcourt. They have the medic, the shooter. I can't remember his name. I believe it's Josh or something like. So we know we know his personnel. We're very familiar with Fort Campbell as well, because they're a very good team. And Mike Myers has a couple of gritty players. Every time you're dealing with him, you're dealing with a gold medal coach, so you got to be prepared for that as well. As far as Nellis Air Force Base. I'll get more into it once we see the brackets. But there's going to be a lot of great competition that you have to be prepared for when you go to these tournaments.
So will y'all be a top seed, being that winning the conference?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they'll do point differential, but considering we won the West, Fort Campbell won the East, one of us will be one and one will be second. I think it comes down to total points scored or points again. I know last year we went in second. Fort Jackson was first. And there's another team I forgot about. Fort Jackson. That guy has like a Division I team up there. You know, they're big, they're talented, they got this great backcourt. So that's another team. Yeah, that was oversight on my part because that's a very good program. Very, very, very good team. I mean, they showed up last year. I was like, where the hell did you get all these big dudes at, man? You got like 6'8", 6'9" over here. Where all these big jokers come from? So, you know, that's another very good team. But we'll either be first or second. Either way, I'll live with it.
Okay. So, Coach, I know you got to get up out of here. We greatly appreciate you coming on and being with us and rocking with us this morning and the rest of our high speeds. So I'm very sure we'll have you on again before the finals.
I plan on coming back. I want to bring one of my players back. I love this format. I love supporting brothers. Like I told you the other day, I talk sports all day.
Yes, sir.
I love doing this. I just got to go take this rental card back that I forgot about. You know. So, but I love this, man. I want to come back. I want to do the fantasy league. Before I go, though, I'm just going to say this about my Bears. I'm really not happy what our GM has done this off season because, okay, I've seen this big picture goal because I believe next year, right now, we're projected to have $94 to $95 million underneath the cap, right? While a team like Jacksonville went and shot their load this year, and they're already going to be negative $18 million next year, right? So I see it. And you don't want to go out and do nothing crazy because, quite honestly, and it hurts me to say this, but besides on Madden, we are poised to win next year, okay? But at the same time, you have to get at least one legit offensive lineman and at least one legit wide receiver to help your quarterback out. You know, the guy that just signed with New Orleans from Cleveland, I can't remember his name right now.
Landry.
Yeah, so someone of that, stature, just to give Justin Fields somebody solid to throw to, because Mooney, to me, on a good team is a number 3. And we have Mooney, we have this St. Brown dude, we have Pringle. I mean, it's the worst wide receiver group in the NFL, in my opinion. Atlanta might have something to say about it, but I think we hold that crown. So you have a second-year quarterback. You're still evaluating him. You gave him the worst wide receiver combination in the league. Still a shaky offensive line where the only thing you really addressed was adding a center from the Packers, and you're basically running the same guys out there and hoping that they produce. So are you really setting the kid up for success?
So it's funny.
That's my concern.
It's funny that you say that because that was one of the segments where you did basically list. So from your quarterback, Justin Fields, from his admission is he's fine with his receiving group because he says. And I was about to ask y'all, does he have to say that?
Yeah, because as a quarterback, CEO, leader, it's sort of like the Baker Mayfield thing. Quarterbacks have to act a different way. I remember Cam Newton telling a story where, he went to take a photo with somebody, and he made sure that when he takes photos with fans, there's never like any alcohol in the picture. Hey, put that down, because when you're a quarterback, these guys, it's a different ballgame because you're the CEO of a $1 billion company. So, you have to act accordingly. So, of course, he has to say that. And I'm sure
he did say that.
He believes it.
And because he said his admission is that he spoke about how players go. And you know what? Actually, I don't know. Was it shots fired, Bishop? I don't know. Pew, pew, we know how it go. But, hey, he said his words were Moody did better than Robinson. And he is like, Robinson was supposed to be this person. He only got X amount of 410 yards receiving, while Moody had 1,000 yards receiving.
And Rob laid down on us last year. He played like a dog. Now, I think he's going to have a good fantasy season up there with the Rams. But he played like a dog last year. He really did. It was obvious, because another one, he wanted the contract. didn't get it, was playing under the franchise tag, and he sort of played like, okay, I know y'all not going to tag me again. This is my last year here, and I'm not getting hurt for you bums. That's sort of the effort that he gave. Because I got a bag to get next year, and I'm going to get it from a good team. So, yeah, I'll do enough. I'm not going to get fined. I show up to work, but don't expect nothing extra out of me. That was the performance we got from him last year.
Okay, I'll give you that. And coaches saying that, like, so that's almost like a total line type situation. Like, I understand,
Right.
or we ain't got the best receiving core. So Bishop, is that what's going on in Philadelphia? Is Jalen totaling the line? I mean, y'all got AJ Brown, but besides that,
We
y'all
got
totaling the
Devontae Smith too.
line.
Don't sleep on that. Ain't no he was a Heisman Trophy candidate winner. What do you mean? No, he's that dude. He's not towing the line. Well, no, we're not towing the line at all.
So a couple of things, right? Okay, going back into this situation. So I kind of got, after reading a little more. So of course, like we talked about Aaron Donald. Like Aaron Donald basically has come on and stated that he has no problem with retiring if the Rams ain't gonna give him what he wants. So
Okay.
no, don't sit
He's
up with
going
that
out on
face.
a high.
Don't
He's
you
going
dare
out on
sit
a
there with
high.
that face. Bishop, don't sit there with that face like that. So
Why?
he's not, because I'm kind of on the fence, because I was on one fence. So now I'm on the middle of the fence, because this is what we have with Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald basically stated that he's cool. He's like, basically, if he plays, the only way he's going to play football is if they have a chance to win. He's not playing football if they don't have a chance to win. So he said that he came on and stated he only plans to play 8 years. He has accomplished everything he needs to accomplish in the 8 years. So at this point, he's just playing.
Everything else is extra.
Yeah,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Everything else is extra. But he said he will only come back to play if they have a chance to win again and again and
Which
again.
they do.
That's what it happens. So
Which they do.
currently he's on contract for 3 years, right? 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
in which the first year, being this year, would pay him $26 million.
Okay.
After this year, he's only going to make $23 million over the next 3 years. Over the next 2 years, which
2 years.
comes out
Okay.
to be, so basically comes out to be that he's owed $75 million roughly by the Rams. But he says he wants to come back and restructure that contract to be paid more. Why, Bishop? Because TJ Watt is making $28 million. Now,
Mm-hmm.
keep this in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
We understand Aaron Donald might be a tad bit better than TJ.
I might be.
Might be a tad bit better
I
than
don't
TJ.
think there's a might in that, but okay.
So it's TJ's making $28 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
But TJ just signed that contract to get $28 million a year. So Aaron feels like
he feels like he's deserving of that or more.
to that, you know, saying what I was saying. Aaron saying I'm better than TJ, basically substantially
That
better
part.
than TJ. That's saying a
That
lot if he's substantially better than TJ Watt.
Okay.
And he feels like they should restructure the 3 years to pay him more, which we're talking about, bruh. 30 almost sounded like almost 30 35 million for a defensive lineman.
Okay. Where's your question?
That's not a lot for a defensive lineman?
No.
35 million?
No.
But we're talking about Aaron Donald, because what it's seen is he's seen as
And
one
that's
of
the
the
key. That's
most
the key point.
the
That name
best all
alone.
time in anything in NFL. The NFL's best player all time in Aaron Donald.
That part. That name alone accounts for him getting the bag. That name alone and what he's done on the field.
So
Alone.
that's what he's basically stating, that even so now it was said
And I
that
don't think it would be 35 million. I'm thinking it'd be lower
more than
30s.
that, a lower 30s.
No, lower 30s. It'd be probably 30,
Because he
31.
wants more than TJ, obviously. He ain't
Right.
looking
And
to get
TJ at
equal to
28.
TJ. And TJ's at
Right.
28.
If TJ at 28, I'm sure he'll take 30 to 31. Easy. I'm sure he'll take 30 to 31, being the fact that the comments in which you said he made in regards to he doesn't have to play.
Yeah, he's solidified in the money he get. He just signed on to Donda Sports, in which they are looking at doing things outside of football for him and even his wife. So he has money, and he evidently has other ideas and streams in which he can get.
Right.
Well, he's not worried or perplexed about
Hurting
no
for
losing.
money. Right.
Yeah, he's not
right.
hurting for money at all. So he's open
But
to
But
retiring.
you got to keep in mind, right? But what you got to keep in mind, right? Just like these receivers and just like these quarterbacks, you have to keep in mind that some players like an Aaron Donald or TJ Watt or any defensive player, they're trying to set their peers up for success.
Mm-hmm.
So if Aaron Donald comes in and says, all right, look, TJ's making it 28, I need to be making at least 30 to 31. So when he retires or chooses not to play anymore or whatever, and TJ, now there's a plateau in which these defensive linemen are looking at making money, but they know they have to play on that level of TJ and Aaron Donald. So for them to get that bag of a 30 million plus or 28 million plus, because that's where TJ's at right now, they have to play at a certain level. So these TJ Watts and these Aaron Donalds are setting a standard or setting a bar for all these other players who may be looking to try and get to that point somewhere down the line. So therefore, that's why they do. That's why I feel like some of these players do what they do, not only necessarily for them, but for them.
Aaron Donald just turned 31 last week.
Yeah, he's young. He's young. He's still young. He's still young. Especially as a defensive player, defensive lineman. He's definitely still young. He could possibly go at least another 5-6 seasons before there's a major down, a major difference in his play, and if he can stay healthy. But yeah, he probably has a good at least 4 or 5 more years before he could be considered, over the hill
or not productive anymore.
Right.
And also, like you said, if the Rams aren't going to pay him what he feel like he's worth, he's willing to call it quits and
let it go.
And let it go.
He has that right. Him letting it go now. If they choose not to give him the bag,
you got to have a lot of money. You got to have a lot ready to go. Or loaded up loaded for yourself. If you're willing to leave $75 million on the table for something in which you love doing, I'm very sure he has his own rigors, but he's like, I'm good for So, Rams, I guess you on the clock.
They are. They already let Vaughn go, so it's.
And that's funny. Like they probably let him go, thinking that they have Aaron in the fold, and like Aaron talking about, I'm finna do some y'all too. Like y'all ain't trying to pay me.
Aaron, come on over to Philly, bro. We'll take you. Come on, we'll give you that 30.
He said he wants to be able to win.
That's why I said, come on over to Philly. We'll give you that 30.
He wants to be able to win. That's not going to even get him in the door, bro.
Yeah,
he'll go up the coastline. He'll go up the coastline before he goes over to the other side of the country.
For what?
He'll have more of an opportunity to win in San Francisco than he will in Philadelphia.
No, he will not.
And that's not even cap. That's the truth.
That is cap. That is definitely cap. That is not facts. Why? What is the fact in that? Y'all don't even know who y'all quarterback is right now.
We ain't gotta know who our quarterback is.
Yes, you do.
We're built on
defenses. How do you
For one,
not
we
know
have a 2-time conference champion, one-time conference champion, one-time Super Bowl appearance.
And
so again, 2-time conferences.
What have I told you about Super Bowl appearance? You're just another fan on the field. That's all you are. If you didn't win it, you were a high-paid fan on the field. That's it.
I think
if he was a high-paid fan.
If he was to leave, he would go to San Francisco before Philadelphia.
No, crazy. No, Aaron, come on over to Philly, man. Let's go get this ring.
You would go to San Francisco before you go to Philadelphia.
I would not go to San Francisco. I would definitely not go to San Francisco. Please, no. For one, I don't know. Again, I don't know who my quarterback in San Francisco is going to be. So why in the world would I go there? At least I know who my quarterback is in Philly. I'm not going to a team again. Like he said, he's going to go to a team who's can win, they don't even know who their quarterback is. So how can you say they can win? They don't even know who's gonna put points on the board for them. You got a wide receiver who wants to be out, who don't even want to be there. But I'm gonna go there for what? Get out of here. We don't have them too many DBs. You can't never have too many DBs.
Stop playing, bro. Y'all got the top 2 tandems in the last 2 years. And you know what's unfortunate? Y'all ain't going to do nothing with them.
Watch. Okay. That's what everybody, that's what I'm saying. Aaron
That's
Donald.
unfortunate.
Hey, I'm looking at the camera. Aaron, come on, man. Come on. Come on. We got you, bro. We know who our quarterback is. We just picked up, you know what I'm saying? Brown. Man, we about to do some things, bro. We about to do some things out there. Come on over there, man. We got you. Let's get one. Come on.
Top
and we'll give you that bag.
In the last 2 years.
We'll get you that bag. Come on. Let's go and take out the whole NFC. Knock out the whole NFC. We get Aaron Donald. We definitely knocking out the NFC, bro.
So that's something that's interesting. You say that. We understand that he said he only wants to go to a win. He wants to only go if he knows they're able to win. But do you think Aaron Donald changed the complexity of any team he goes to? Potentially? Absolutely. You think so?
Absolutely.
Like having him on your team makes your offense better automatically. It's like just his aura in the organization.
What he brings into the locker room, bro. His aura about him.
He gives power ups to everybody, the whole offensive line.
You remember you seen what is it? Space Jam. You remember how Bugs Bunny had that water, but they thought it was super juice or whatever?
Everyone started feeling themselves.
Everybody getting muscles and they feeling it. That's what Aaron Donald brings. If we was to get Aaron Donald, bro, we guarantee. How you getting Donald if you have Cox and Jordan? See, this is the thing. We can let either one of them go. Yeah. And we can get him. Cox is on his way out.
The disrespect. You see how swiftly he's like, well, we just gonna let one of them go. Y'all just did everything y'all could to get Cox back in the building.
But Cox, listen to what I'm saying though. We don't necessarily have to let him go. I'm not saying we have to, but if we need to let one of them go so we could get Aaron Donald, we're willing to do so. But if we don't have to let him go and we can still get him, Cox on one end and Donald on the other. Oh my God! And Cameron, come on, bro. Let's go. Are you serious? It's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. Come on, Aaron. Come on over to the good side, bro. Come on. You won one with them with the Rams. Come on over to Philly. Let's get 1, 2. Another one. Let's get another one. In 4 years.
No love. It's supposed to be the city of brotherly love, and look what goes on.
Just like Philly, so quick to cut a player. Loyalty means nothing. That's not about loyalty. It's Anthony. Is this not a business? Don't ever. That's the problem. People feel like they misconstrue and forget that the NFL is a business. You're loyal to no one. It is a business. When it comes down to it, it's about making money, putting people in them stands, people on them seats, bringing money to the organization, and been winning the Lombardi Trophy. Loyalty is out the window, man. It's a business. If you got to cut ties with some people so that you can ensure that your business thrives, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do.
Okay. Thank you, Africa. Thank you. Goodness gracious, bro. Stop it. Come on, man.
He's a Niner person. Of course he's going to say that.
But
he's
it's true. Niner it's not cap.
It's not
true.
It is not true, bro. It is not true. Y'all don't even know who y'all quarterback is.
How can he put if Aaron Rodgers comes, that Aaron Donald comes, his aura is going to lift up anything. So in that case, we don't care.
So you telling me when Aaron Donald comes to San Francisco, oh, Aaron's here, we know who our quarterback is now. Who? Aaron? What the fuck? Like what? How's that deciding who your quarterback is? That's not
whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Weather. That's the problem with weather. We all know it's hot outside. Weather, we don't know what the weather is. That's the problem. Whether or not you got Trey Lance or whether or not you're going to use Jimmy Garoppolo. Another person who's probably going to be put out of San Francisco, who's about to leave San Francisco. And then Africa, really, like I said, Debo don't even want to be there. Again, Trey's biggest point about this whole thing was Aaron Donald wants to go to a team that he knows can win. San Francisco ain't even there yet. They're too busy trying to figure out who their quarterback is, whether or not they can keep Debo, or whether or not they're going to let go of Jimmy Garoppolo. There's too many factors over there.
The ideal is that with Aaron Donald, San Francisco has a better chance in winning the Super Bowl than
when you don't have a quarterback. How? Yes, I get it. Defense wins championship, offense sell tickets, but offense got to put points on the board. Aaron Donald ain't finna put points on the board for you. How are you gonna put points on the board and you don't know who your quarterback is?
Trey Lance is our quarterback.
If you're gonna keep Debo,
or
if you're gonna keep Jerron, you don't know that. You don't know that.
Trey Lance is a quarterback.
You do not know that. They have not. There is nothing sure fact that Trey Lance is y'all starting quarterback for this upcoming season. Nothing has said that. Nothing. Not one thing. We can say we know who our starting quarterback is. We can say that. We know who ours is. Trey, who's your wide receivers again? Exactly. Right now,
Debo Samuels.
Hold on, he don't even know that.
Brandon Ayuk.
Nobody.
Jawan Jennings.
Kittles. Give him Kittles.
Yes,
that's it.
Kittles.
Give him Kittles. That's it. That's all you can give him right now because Debo's still trying to get up out of San Francisco. So give him Kittles. That's it. And the other two guys in which he named. Other than that, you don't know. You can't go. Let me go to San Francisco. Oh, but wait, I don't know because they don't know who their quarterback is. Oh, I don't know because right now Debo's talking about their best players talking about leaving. What? Come on, bro. That don't even make sense. That's that 49er bias.
No bias. It's just that's what
that is a bias, bro. You don't even know who y'all quarterback. Come on, bro. Y'all don't even know who y'all starting. You don't know that. That have nothing has said that even y'all coach has not said Trey Lance is finna be our starter.
No one's coach has said anyone is about to be the starter. The OTAs, mandatory ATAs.
Coaches have not said who their starters are, but they have emphasized on who they looking for to be who they're looking.
The only team that stated who their starter is. The only team that stated who their starter is the Las Vegas Raiders, as they stated that it is Derek Carr's team. That's it.
We know Aaron Rodgers is finna be their starter. We know Tom Brady is finna be their starter.
That's speculative, but yes.
That is not a speculative. What? That is not nowhere near speculative whatsoever. There is nowhere near that speculative. That they know. There is no question about that. No way forward fast. Especially this is last season.
Tua is Miami.
Hurts expected to be Phillies.
Yes.
Dak expected to be Dallas.
49ers
expected to be. We don't
Trey
know.
Lance.
No one.
Trey Lance. Trey Lance
is
the starter.
No, it is not. Y'all in the same boat as over there is where what's his name is
Cleveland.
No, Cleveland know who they want their starter to be, but because of what's happening, he probably won't be the starter.
What's happening?
They do know, but they do know who their starter is going to be.
What you say? What's happening? What's going on? So what should we hear on the news about the suspension? If there is,
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard one thing about this suspension.
You haven't got back with you?
They kind of been hush about it lately. They haven't really said too much about this suspension here lately.
In the offices?
Nope.
Okay. So of course we appreciate y'all rocking this. DJ, if you still on, see, I told you, DJ, man, like you said earlier, Fed talk. Wrong information in which they but we're waiting. We still await Agent Price and Agent Davis should be
whatever.
We should be hearing pretty soon the outcome for Deshaun.
Funny guys. Denver wide receiver case got dismissed. What Denver wide receiver?
You know, Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy. Oh, yeah.
I know that was a small case for y'all. So y'all, you know, what I'm saying, y'all have bigger fish to fry. So
I didn't know. I missed that. I forgot all about Jerry Jeudy.
Or maybe Anthony is just reporting on his case because you were so enthralled in the Deshaun Watson case. So Anthony had to go do the other case.
This dude, man.
He's just letting. We're thinking he's putting out the information, but he's letting you know, they dismissed the case for Jerry Jeudy. He's put it out, but he's telling you they dismissed the case for Jerry Jeudy. I get it. I completely understand it.
Man, don't I hate you, Trey.
So, he's just putting it out here so everyone's aware. So I got it. I got it.
Whatever, man.
Of course,
I feel you, bro.
Of course, we have come to the show for today. Greatly appreciate y'all high speeds rocking with us, being here in formation. Look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. As y'all know, we're here every Monday through Friday, 09 to 1100 hours. And of course, we look forward to having y'all here to talk a little more. There's a couple of more things in football on which we had to cover that and get to today, but we get to them tomorrow. And see what other guests we can have on as well. Bishop.
Hey, man, greatly appreciate y'all once again, man, tuning in to First Formation. And my apologies about yesterday. For some reason, I was stuck on the fact that it was a holiday and didn't think about the show. Woke up completely late. But either way, please forgive me. I will sign that 4856 and ensure that I check block 13 and so forth and so on. But we really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Be sure to enjoy your Tuesday. Have a great week. We definitely will see you tomorrow. Be sure to tune in, tell your friends, man. And make sure you have your comments ready, man, so we can have all these good conversations, which we have, man. Until tomorrow, we'll holler back at y'all. Y'all have a great Tuesday.
So, attention, fall out. Look forward to see y'all tomorrow, Prize Speed.
Row 5, Military Fraternity Incorporated.